Hello. So I'm in the studio today and I thought I would just flesh out what I blurted out on a live last night in a flow of inspiration and give a little bit more background about why I encourage you to put up your artworks while you're working on them and really have them in your space, your sketches, your collages, anything that you're working on that might potentially turn into something more final. Why to put them up in your space is a good idea. Um, so I've been teaching painting, in-person painting sessions at my house for the last 2 months. And what I've discovered about teaching a very intuitive, open loop kind of style of painting, open loop meaning that the way that I teach is not like this is an apple and now you're going to draw the apple and paint the apple like this and everyone's paintings are going to look the same at the end of the class. That's not at all what I do. I prompt and guide, very, very open-ended, and sometimes the prompts are the first hour or half an hour of the class, and the rest of the class I don't prompt. Sometimes I start the class open-ended and then prompt at the end to encourage people to step out of their comfort zones. Like at the end of the session when you're kind of starting to wrap up and you think you have an idea of where this is going, and then to like just throw a curveball in there and really get you to step out of all of the ideas and the expectation you have for your painting before the class finishes. So in teaching such an open-ended kind of way and really putting my own process out there and guiding from my own process and where I am and what I'm working with myself in that week in the studio in my practice, I've also learned a lot. And one thing that I've learned is that attaching to a painting, a painting's end, like what it needs to be too quickly, can become such a massive block. And the way that this is played out for myself in my sessions is that you have such a concentrated time in a session. You have 2 hours with maybe like 3 A3 sizes, or sometimes the half, like 6 A4 sizes. It depends on what I feel lists that week. But you have a certain amount of pages that you're working with. You have a set of guided prompts that come and go during the class. And you've came to sit down and paint in that time. Nothing is going to distract you in that time, except if the dogs come downstairs and you cuddle them for a while. But you are there to paint. And so what happens is you kind of start, and then somewhere during the class you're like, okay, this one or these two or maybe even all of these paintings are going in a direction and I have an idea. This is where they're going. And it happened to me quite often that then after the session I did exactly what I encouraged you to do last night in my live, which is to put them up in my studio space. And then this idea of what this painting needs to be that I have created in the 2 hours becomes a block, because then I become precious. Oh my goodness, like in this very flowy, intuitive space of the session, I made this really nice wash and now I don't want to mess it up by adding anything to it. So what the hell do I do? And this painting behind me is an example of one that happened. I painted a peacock feather in one of the still life sessions, and I loved it. I thought it was literally made it in like 2 minutes. It was such a flowy, like just taking a fan brush and flow, wash, done. It was like fabulous. But I felt like it needed something, but I was so precious about what I had created already. So then I put it up in my studio space, and I couldn't touch it for 2 weeks because of this idea of what it had to be. I wanted to add blue, but I was so scared to add blue because maybe I'm going to ruin it. And then the vision that popped up in my head while I painted it in the session was going to be ruined. And of course I tried to add the blue, and because I painted with so much fear, I did fuck it up. And it wasn't what I wanted, and the dream of what I wanted it to become, the attached desire was shattered. And from that moment, I was free to actually see the painting and the potential in the painting and not hold on to something in my mind. I actually then trusted the process and could flow with it. And now this very strange psychedelic, I don't know what kind of flower that is. I'm still busy with it, but it's like almost dinosaur-y, strange, started to develop. And I felt like I had more freedom. So, staying with your paintings for a while in your space and becoming aware of the story that you're telling yourself about these paintings, I think is a really interesting way to expand beyond that story. So I told myself it had to be a peacock feather and it had to be almost exactly the same, but it needed something really special, and I didn't know how to add that. And that was the story. And I was stuck on that story until I destroyed the story and could really see the painting for what it is supposed to be. So another little art ramble there for you. And I don't know how to flip the camera, but I'm just gonna like turn it around so that you can see. I do put my paintings up in my studio all the time. So there's some artworks that I'm still working on now, and some that I don't know what's happening with that one. That one I've been working on for months, and I don't know, but I'm putting it up there. It makes me cringe, but it's worth doing. I really love this one so much, but I know that it needs something else, and it's freaking me out because I don't know what to add. And so I'm putting it up in my space. So I think that it is really important to put the artworks up that you like and that you don't like, and really kind of sit with them and consider what story you're telling yourself about them. And sometimes for me, the story is no one is going to buy this, even though I think it's lovely. I feel like that weird dinosaur flower is a little bit like that. I don't know how it fits into my style and my portfolio. And now I'm telling myself that I don't know if anyone is going to like it, and maybe no one's going to buy it, but something about it is nice to me, and I need to trust that that's enough. So while I'm showing you my studio, I thought I'd show you like a sleepy doggy. Hello, Frida. Hello, Freddy. And here's another one. Diego. Hello, Diego. Have an inspired day.